Hey, my name's Daniel, and I have been leaving off on this single scene for about like 2 weeks now, and I'm sorry for the person who suggested it. And it's a debate scene, which I love debates. But yet, what I do know about debates is the fact that the presidential debate is right now on, but yet I hate those things. But yet I love what I want to see it because it's a classroom debate, which I love classroom debates because they could be better than presidential debates by far. So, thank you for the people who suggested it, and let's get into it.
The word jihad is mentioned in the Quran about 41 times. The words mercy, peace, and compassion are mentioned about 355 times. Yes, come in. Come on in, Riaz. Sit down, please. Contrary to popular belief in most Western cultures, Islam is a religion that preaches peace and tolerance. Yes, Patricia.
If Islam truly is a religion that preaches peace, then how come the world's most troubled spots, the West Bank, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, they're all plagued with Islamic terrorism?
Well, that depends on your definition of terrorism. Some might argue that the US invasions of countries like Iraq and Afghanistan are also acts of terrorism.
Those were acts of war to get rid of despotic regimes.
Or a means of getting at a country's oil.
Conspiracy theories.
Well,
May I?
Yes, please. Go ahead, Riaz.
Mr. Khan is right. I mean, if we're talking about terrorists, the world's biggest terrorists are the white superpowers.
Come on now.
No, really, stop and think about it.
Explain 9/11.
Okay. Do you know how many people died in the Twin Towers strike?
Around 3,000.
Yep.
And do you have any idea how many people died in the bombing of Afghanistan? Take a wild guess. More than 15,000 people died. And that's just conservative figures. About 50,000 tons of explosives were dropped on innocent civilians. Men, women, children.
Yeah, but that was because of the Taliban.
Now that you brought it up, did you know that the Taliban was a creation of the CIA to fight the Russians?
Whatever. They were still harboring terrorists.
Yeah, right. Terrorists that were never found. Just like the weapons of mass destruction that were never found in Iraq. Do you want to get into the death toll in Iraq? 500,000 civilians and counting. And what do Britain and America say when they don't find these weapons? It's simple. They just say sorry. And still refuse to relinquish control of these countries.
What are you trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is that just because you're American, wear a fancy suit, and call yourself the president, doesn't make you any less of a terrorist. I'm saying that if you don't stop meddling in other people's countries, you will face a backlash.
If Muslims like you feel that way, then why don't you get out of our country?
We will. As soon as you promise to leave ours.
Wow, that was a better debate than all the presidential debates by far. Oh my gosh, that was incredible. Like, they literally, they talked about terrorist attack, and then next, this is the true point. When I actually saw like probably 5 seconds of the clip, I was thinking they're going to play 9/11. I was thinking that. I was thinking that the whole time. I was like, they're going to become 9/11. And when I heard that, I was like, yes! They actually brought it up! Because I actually do believe that sometimes Americans do have a little bit of an actual thing, because you might not know if other countries might think you as a terrorist. Because for me just seeing the world as it is right now, it could be possible. The fact that is a true statement. There's been so many terrorist attacks. I've heard of the Iraq. I've heard of Afghanistan. My dad served there for a few months to a year. I heard 9/11. I heard the attacks and the 50,000 people. I've heard those things. Those are those were attacks that literally made a lot of people feel. And the way the guy that literally was debating against everybody, there's only one thing he was really true point about. There was a true point in everything he said. The fact that sometimes people might think of Americans as terrorists because of how much we actually hurt them. How much sometimes that you might think, well, yeah, we might have terrorists in another place, but you gotta remember that we are also human beings. We don't only think that everybody's a terrorist, but yet you guys automatically think that we're not, because some countries might think we are terrorists because of how we act. One thing I like about this debate is the fact it goes into detail about, like, he explains how much a lot of terrorist attacks and how much attacks have reflected on how much we actually used, like, most attacks on them. Like, we bombed them, we killed a lot of people, we know that. But I like the fact that that goes like, yeah, but then why don't you get out of the country? Like, only if you get out of ours. Because there's a lot of people that think that, well, there's terrorists out there, but yet you gotta remember that people might think we're terrorists because how much we've actually have killed people. I know Americans are not the best people in the world. I know that. And me just saying this is a true statement. The fact that they bring up huge points about how much attacks 9/11, almost 3,000 people or more than 3,000 people died. Next thing you know, he brings up the attack with 50,000 people died, with women, fathers, and children. Oh, mothers, fathers, and children, my bad with the woman thing. But this debate was something that a lot of people don't get, the fact that they might kill a lot of Americans, a lot of Islams and Muslims, but we also killed them. We've done a lot of things that we shouldn't have done in the past, that we had to figure out the fact that we're not anything different from them. We killed innocents. They killed innocents. But it doesn't really mean that we have to call them terrorists because of their own religion. Their religion is just something. We have the freedom of religion in our constitution. We have that single thing in there, in which people think, well, that doesn't really mean anything. I'm like, you don't know. Some people who have a different religion, like, have to respect their religion because of their own past, how their family acts. But people only think, well, a lot of terrorists have happened, and Islams and Muslims always do that to us, like they kill people. I'm like, don't you think Americans have done that too? But yes, I do agree with the fact that sometimes white superiors literally don't. They think that they don't act like terrorists. They do act like terrorists because of how much innocence they killed. They killed mothers. They killed fathers. They killed children. They killed a lot of innocent people that didn't deserve to die, but yet they took the huge chance, and now look at where they are now. They think, oh, well, we're separate. Well, you got remember, it's on your hands due to the fact that you just killed a family that literally was just living their life, and next thing you know, bam, you just lost it. You just lost your life because of that single attack. You're showing that you didn't even care about their life. You gotta remember that you might be a terrorist also, because the fact that every single person in the world might be an enemy. You didn't notice? I know Americans are not the best. I know other religions are not the best. I'm not saying that, like, we're all perfect. I'm just saying the fact that don't act one way and think of the fact that, oh, you guys are terrorists, so just leave our country. I'm like, only if you leave our country and leave it alone for good and stop killing innocents. This is a better debate than the presidential debate by far, because this is more of an actual way of how much this world has suffered from death, innocence, and loss of family, loss of lives. But that girl, she didn't know how much people have died against Americans, how much the white superiors, like the president, literally sent out attacks that killed many innocent family members, innocent people that are literally just living out their lives, but yet you can't just only take the chance on losing innocence. They were probably just having fun with their family. Next you know, like that, they just lost their life. But I do love this debate. I am going to put this in the link in the description because it shows how much sometimes attacks on other places might think those people that were there before, that were like there to witness it, will think that you guys are terrorists because how much you didn't care about how much people were innocent, how much people were just there and they were just people just living out their lives and just going home to their family. You might not know that, but I do agree with this. I do agree with the fact that some Americans like sometimes yeah. I'm not going. I well, the thing is, I'm not saying I'm against attacks. I'm not. The thing is, the person has to remember there's also innocence. You're taking a huge chance, but yet those chances are like 1 to a trillion of not having innocence. You literally also are killing innocent people in the world. The people who just want to be with their families, next thing you know, they can't because they lose it. They lose their life. But yes, I do love this debate. I'm actually going to look at the movie. I'm actually going to like watch it to see more of it. And I just want to say thank you everybody so much for watching. I put the link in the description like I said. And have a great month day, and we'll see you guys in future videos. Bye bye!